everyone, welcome back to the Diabetic Diet Show. Today I'd like to talk about some of the letters that I've received from people sending me emails and asking questions about some of the kitchen tools and toys that I have. You know, if you're just setting up a new house or you want to know about some gifts to give to people, these kitchen gadgets are definitely, they just make your life wonderful working in the kitchen. And some of them are so simple that it's amazing that they weren't invented long before they were. But let's get started. I'll go through them really fast. So one that's hard to find is this cheese shredder. This is what you're going to find in a commercial Italian restaurant. Of course, for corn on the cob. And then we also have the little pointed fingers that go in here. This is called a plane, and this is what you use for garlic. Here's a shredder. You could use it on carrots or cucumbers, and it makes a fancy stripe. Pizza cutters. There's all kinds of pizza cutters. Some of them are better than others. This one here happens to be my new favorite. I do have another one I'll show you in a little bit that came with the new wave oven. Now here's another plane. This is a smaller one, and that's garlic. Here's the other pizza cutter I was telling you about. It has where you can serve out the piece of pizza and you can cut it. Of course, an egg slicer. I love to make hard-boiled eggs. Thermometers. Thermometers come in all different configurations. This one here is a big one that you stick into a turkey or a chicken in the oven. But there are small instant thermometers that you absolutely have to have an instant thermometer if you're going to be cooking, because you have to make sure that you get, I cook chicken to 170 and then it's never bloody. But chicken has to be at least 160. So when you're cooking beef and especially pork, you got to watch pork. So absolutely you have to have an instant read small thermometer and check the temperatures on your food. We can talk more about that another time. So this is for lemons and limes, and of course when you do a lemon you cut it in half, and those of us that cook all the time, we squeeze it with the open part up on the top so that it runs out and into your bowl and you don't get the seeds in there. But that's just a couple of things. Here's a strainer. Here's a baster, turkey baster. One of my favorites. This is for cake. This scoop is invaluable. You can use it for ice cream, of course, but you know, on my diet I'm not going to eat ice cream, but I use it for butter. So I'll scoop out butter, put it on the plate when I'm entertaining. You can also use it for melons and sauces and other things like that. So garlic press, cheese slicer, hammer, double-sided, one side is rigid, and that's for beating out those flat pork chops. Wooden spoons. You need a whole set of wooden spoons, and there's about 4 plastic tools that you need. You need a spoon and you need a spatula, and the spoon comes both with the holes in the bottom or solid, and this particular one is flat and it's made for a wok. So they work better when they're made and you use them for what they're made for. Paintbrushes. You can get them at the restaurant supply place. You can get them at the grocery store. You can get them at the dollar store. But I use them. They're disposable. That's what I base things with. This particular one here is a coring tool. You can use it for coring apples and things like that. Here's a jar opener. Spatula for scooping out of bowls, or you can use it for separating your bacon when you're trying to bring the bacon out of the package. That works good for that. This is a pasta scoop. You'll see the new version of this will be plastic. One of the things we did when we were setting up our kitchen was we went to the resale shops and we bought a lot of used stuff. But here's mashed potato. Measuring spoons come 2 ways. This is for liquid. There's also the bigger ones which are for powder. This could be a telephone, but I think it's to save your bananas in. jar lid openers. Open your jar lids before you put them in the refrigerator. I take it you're probably going to use them. Since you just bought them and you're going to put them in the refrigerator, they're easier to open when they're warm before you put them in there. This is for doing tacos. You just put all your tacos in here and fill them with meat. The usual tongs come large and small. Here's a steel Wok Spatula. The old carrot peeler, you can use it on cucumbers as well. I call this a Pate Knife. I use this for butter. When I have to butter large amounts of bread and stuff. And I also have a few spoons that I use for my mixing. These are different than the ones that I use during serving at my tables and I have dinner parties. These have an insulated handle and you use them during cooking so you don't burn your fingers. This is for ice cubes, to pull out the ice cubes so you don't drop them. You can put them in your drinks. The old can opener that doesn't work very well. Have you seen the new ones advertised on TV where they unroll the seam? Those look pretty neat. I need to get one of those. I'm going to do a video on my kitchen appliances that make my life easier. And before I forget, check out the subscribe button, push that button, and also there's a bell button. Hit the bell button so when I drop that video, you'll be able to see it. Here's some skewers. I know they do come wood. I prefer the metal ones to make shish kebabs. A loosened spatula. Real good for cake and things like that. Here's a plastic scraper. Tongs for small things, and I use this mainly on a serving dish for radishes and things like that. More of the spoons that I use for cooking. This goes on your bottle of olive oil. I think it's supposed to go on your whiskey bottle, but I bought a set of these at the liquor store, and I use them on my olive oil bottle. Another baster. Here's a melon scoop. Use this for melons and put them on the plate in a circle. They look pretty cool. Here's a single side melon scoop. Of course, these are great for doing salad. Here's a double-sided spatula. Fits in a pan or in a bowl. And this is the other scoop that's perforated. Use that for getting things like sausage out of a pan when you're doing like a spaghetti type thing. And then for spaghetti sauce. Tongs for meat. The way they're shaped, you can grab meat out of a pan. You notice the difference between these and the big ones. The larger ones I used to reach in the old New Wave oven because it's so hot, or the barbecue grill. But the smaller tongs work better in the kitchen when you're on a pan, reaching in a pan. The squirt bottles from the dollar store. Remember I was telling you about these earlier? So they cost $1. You get them, you put your salad dressing, your vinegars, your oil, whatever you want in them. You can take them apart and wash them in the dishwasher, rinse them out a little bit with some soap and water. But they come like a 3-pack for $1. They're great. Little strainers that you can sit in a bowl or a dish or a cup. Another can opener, because of course we go through a lot of them. Here's a scoop that's for Oriental soup. And to be honest with you, I use this when I'm cooking and preparing food because I like the angle of it and the volume of it. It's a tablespoon. The measurement is actually a tablespoon. Plastic tongs for extremely hot things. Here's something real dangerous. Here's a very inexpensive knife. And it was left over. Should have been pitched a long time ago. So here's more spoons that show the plastic for cooking. different kinds of plastic tools. A plastic whisk. Look at it now, that's an old can opener. You know that one's been around for a while. So this is one of my favorite things. This is a little pate knife. I like to use this for buttering small things. Here's the juicer. At one point I sold Ginsu knives for Thanksgiving weekend dinner at one of the local grocery stores. One of my jobs a girlfriend talked me into, and we gave away these juicers. I had bags of 1,000. Looks like I got one left. And then here's the little attachments that you use for the corn on the cob. You stick them in the end of the corn on the cob and stick them in that little tray. So those are kind of cool. So lastly, there is the plastic measuring cups, and I kind of like to take out my favorite ones and just put them aside. And of course, here's the squirt bottles. Get them at the dollar store, get them at the grocery store. And I learned to keep my kitchen clean. If you go to the county and you take the course on food sanitization and safety, they're going to tell you bleach. Bleach, bleach, bleach. So what I do is I put in some bleach, I put in some dish soap, I put in some water, I shake it and I squirt it, and I pre-treat my dishes. It has a real nice fan spray on it, so dishes, before I put them in the sink, I pre-spray them. I use it for the counter, I use it for the top of the stove, I use it to wash my hands when I'm cooking. I just reach over, grab it, and give it a spray. I get some nice dish soap and bleach, and then I can just do a fast rinse to get my hand clean. So this is a tool. It's definitely one of my favorites, and a fairly inexpensive thing. So that's it for your basic gadgets. I'm sure there's a few more that I have in the drawer that I didn't pull out, but those were my important ones. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Diabetic Diet Show.